There's someone out there right now who's maybe our age, or early 50s, but there's also people in their 40s and even their 30s that are maybe hearing this for the first time. And I guess there's a little doubt, there's a little curiosity. What do you tell people right away when they first kind of hear this idea? Can lead them to kind of pull the thread and go a little bit deeper? You said this use it or lose it. That's kind of an interesting concept.
So let me just give you some examples of what we learn, right? Facts tend to work pretty well for most people. So let me give you a half. Let's start with physical body. I like to say this is the hammer, meaning if you were talking to people even 10 years ago about peak performance aging and holding on to these skills, they would always be in your face and be like, what about VO2 max? Because that really drops off a cliff. And VO2 max was something that physiologists love. That's your upper respiratory capacity, right? When you're boxing, VO2 max. When you're sprinting, VO2 max. When you're bump skiing or park skiing, VO2 max. And the old idea, which is sort of true, like a lot of these ideas, that VO2 max starts to decline in our 20s. It's about 10% per decade kind of thing. And then we get to about 50 and it accelerates, gets to like 15%. And this is sort of the general thinking. And then something weird started happening in triathlons, actually, and in really long distance races. And I started to notice folks in their 50s and 60s and 70s were beating some of the younger athletes consistently. And what the hell was going on? This is weird. So they decided they were going to go measure the VO2 max of octogenarian triathletes. Now, these are people that have been training really minimum since their 50s. So 30 years of training, but they found that 80-year-olds, 85-year-olds would have the VO2 max of healthy 35-year-olds. And I believe, I might have this wrong, but the world record, I believe it was 88 and he had the VO2 max of a 25-year-old. So that's one example. I'll give you another one. Brain volume decreases over time. Widely accepted, shrinks 1% to 2% a year for a certain age. Oh my God, what do we do? And especially problematic is like the hippocampus, which does long-term memory, right? And the medial prefrontal cortex, which is where your personality lives. So these are two areas that shrink. They were really alarming. And we now know that rigorous exercise increases hippocamp volume. In fact, you can reverse the age-related decline in hippocampal volume without too much difficulty with regular exercise. So there's a body one, there's a brain one. I can keep going with this stuff. But the other thing you need to know, because there's some stuff that shrinks over time, and we're just now trying to figure out how to train it. So I'll give you a really wild example. We do a lot of work with Dr. Adam Gazzaley. He's a neuroscientist at UCSF, University of California, San Francisco. And he had the cover of Nature about 5 or 6 years ago, which is the most prestigious science publication in the world. And he had the cover because he had invented a video game that was approved by the FDA as a medicine. First time any video game has been approved as a medicine, and it's designed to treat cognitive decline in older adults. And specifically, works on a couple of different things, but the most startling one is task switching. So older adults are worse at task switching than younger adults. One of the reasons that older adults are more vulnerable to cell phones and smartphones and distractions and things that are a little more addictive, and it does more damage in older adults because of task switching. Now, if you play his video game, I want to say it's 3 times a week, 20 minutes a session for 6 weeks. I could be wrong, could be 8 weeks, could have the time on, could be as long as. Needless to say, it will reset the brain of a 6-year-old back to a 20-year-old for task switching. So there's certain stuff where it's exercise, certain stuff we're getting tools like these video games to train stuff that was really hard to get to and we couldn't figure out how to get to it any other way. We're figuring out how to train it. So those are a handful of examples. I literally can go on and we can talk about pretty much anything.